I can't think of another profession that is the same as route setting. You know, it's like manual labour. You've got to be bringing in ladders, strip the holds, load them into the buckets, carry them out, wash them, buckets of holds back in, putting them onto the wall, testing the blocks, tweaking the blocks. Like, it's definitely a full-on day. The other side of it is you've got to be creative, you've got choreographing moves, it's very gymnastic, artistic, you could say, visualising these moves up on the wall. It's a hard, tough day, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So I used to be an estate agent, never been into conventional sports, football or, you know, anything like that. And I just one day was like, I need to start getting fit or do something. Googled climbing, which I remembered I'd done like years ago, and found Mile End. And like, that was it. I was coming like 3 or 4 times a week, and within the space of a few years, I quit my job and like wanted to follow it like full time. It was definitely like a passion for me. I was lucky to be taken under the wing of some guys at the Wall and learnt route setting, and that was like 10, 15 years ago now. And in that time, so much has changed. There's centres opening up all over the place, and you know, we've got climbing in the Olympics, and Mile End's quite unique in the fact that it's got the old school with the new school, you know. I've worked quite hard over that time to build up a reputation that we've got some of the best setting in London and hopefully in the country, and people travel from all over the place to come and try the route. So really the future for the Walls is route setting. So for me, staying in shape for setting is really important. The days are long and hard, and your body's got to be conditioned to doing that. I think you have to be able to definitely climb, you know, what you're setting. If you're setting for some of the best climbers in the country and maybe the world, you know, you've got to be able to test those moves that you're setting for them, in my opinion. Otherwise, how do you know like that things are working? Like, the margins are so small for them to work that if you can't test that, for me personally, I don't know how you can put that on the wall and, you know, just hope it can work. And you've got to be physically in shape to do that. The creative process for me can be a combination of different things. Like, you might have an idea already, you might look at a bit of wall and get an idea, or you might look at a set of holds and get an idea for it. And I think if you set on a regular basis, that's always evolving and changing. I think I'm lucky that I am always just psyched, knowing I'm working with a good team and I've got a good hold selection, or like there's a different concept to do, or you just don't know what's going to happen. But I think the psych is really, really important for you to stay fresh, you know, as a setter. It's just amazing to be able to have a blank canvas and sort of like leave your mark on the wall. I think my style of setting has definitely changed, but originally my route setting reflected how we were training the most, which was on a steep board. So it was like basic climbing, you know, on like edges and stuff, because there were none of these bigger holds. Volumes were like absolutely unheard of. So certainly training a lot on like basic hard blocks. I tried to emulate that when I was setting, because I was just like, oh, this is mega, like this is what we love doing, so this is what I should set. You know, this is what everyone else must love doing. But over the past few years, you know, a whole new style of climbing has emerged, and with that the settings had to change as well, becoming a lot more complex and physical, and the grips have changed. Now there's all these big volumes and like fiberglass to use, and the setters are using them to almost create art, you could say, on the wall. For me personally, it's actually enabled me to progress more as a climber and a setter, because it's a new style that I've had to adapt to. And not only have I had to learn to set it, but I've had to learn to be able to climb it as well. And that's its own set of challenges. You know, a different type of strength is needed, a different type of confidence is needed. There's so many different aspects. It's amazing for people to watch when they're watching guys do like triple paddles or like sick moves in the World Cup. It looks showy, so I think it's a bit more engaging. Setting a good block, I mean, it's like making a cake almost. Like all the ingredients need to be in there to come together for it to work. You know, are the holds comfortable for people to use? Are things in the right place? Generally, I think something should be visually appealing. It should draw someone in to wanna climb it. The movement should be really cool. And always, like with most things, more heads are better than one. So when you're with your team and other people are testing stuff and other people's opinions are coming in, that's all the different ingredients coming in to make it, you know, a better product for people to climb on. I think what we'll do is take the second bubble off so that you smash into the first one. We'll put it a touch higher so it's a bit more of a move. You match into it and you just smash up into the slot. That's a naughty move, that. That is a hard move. Whether it's an easy boulder or a harder boulder, you know, each one's got to have the same amount of love put in. For me, a good boulder problem at any grade leaves the climber having learnt something. So they couldn't unlock the sequence or the body position, or they didn't have the confidence, and they learned something, a skill that they didn't have before. I think a good block is always like a good block, like an amazing block will always stay with you. And there's blocks that people have set here 10 years ago that I can still remember on what holds, where they are, what the moves were. So I think a good block is timeless.